What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 20 of Procedurally Generated. Today is March 30th, 2021. It's 20.
Yell on the microphone.
20.
20.
Well,
Sorry, continue.
I threw the date out there, which we don't usually do. I was going to do it last week, and then I blew by it, and I didn't even.
I talked over it too. What is the date?
Well, it's March 30th, 2021. I almost forgot.
Perfect.
Yeah, but hey, 20, as John just put out there.
Yeah, just threw it out there.
Did this is we made it to 20, John.
Hey,
I mean, I knew we would.
Look
it's
at
just
us.
Making it to that number. Just it feels good.
It does. It does. I'm afraid to let everybody know this is the last episode of Procedurally Generated for this week. Next week we'll be back with episode 21.
Just one this week.
Yeah, just one this week. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Your host for this show is Chris Weber.
Oh yeah.
My name is John Carson.
Yep. I did.
Figured we'd do it a little bit differently. It's been 20 episodes. We might as well introduce this in a different way.
Yeah.
Chris,
that's what I get for throwing the date in there. The entire cadence is just.
I mean, I threw it off by interrupting you that entire intro. How rude of me, sir. The man with the mutton chops. How's it going?
God, I look good.
It's a going good. Solid look, man.
My chin is cold a lot more often now.
It actually makes your beard look thicker.
It does, weird. Doesn't it? It's like the contrast of my white chin.
Space.
Yeah.
Makes everything else look so much fuller. Not that it didn't look full before, but it looks well groomed. It looks
I'm actually checking myself out as we do this.
This is great for an audio podcast.
Yeah. Sorry,
Chris,
you guys.
Want to explain what's going on with your face right now?
Yeah. So I've been playing a video game.
Sure.
This is a very important video game to me. It was I'm playing a video game for a second. I'm streaming it for the second time. It's a game that released in 2019. It was actually my 2019 game of the year. It's called Disco Elysium. And today marked the release of Disco Elysium Final Cut. I have a good relationship with the studio and was actually able to stream the game early yesterday. And decided I don't typically replay games. It's just for me, sometimes it's hard to do that when I already know the story. I already know the major story beats, what's going to happen. But Disco is different. But given the kind of game it is, tons of dialogue, things like that, I tried to think of like different ways that I could kind of spruce things up a little bit. So I decided to go full, like all in and role play as the main character, who I won't name because it's kind of spoilery. But you can look him up. But he's a very disheveled human being, rocking kind of the mutton chops.
Chris looking decidedly less disheveled, but a very good take on that character.
I mean, I did look more disheveled yesterday. You got to see me with the makeup on. We didn't do the makeup today, but for day one we did makeup. The eye bags, the rosy cheeks, the alcoholic nose. We went all out, and it was a lot of fun. It was my first time doing anything like that. Cosplaying, role playing on stream, anything like that. And in fact, if we go back a year ago, I would tell you there's no way that I would do anything like that. But
the most I'm putting on is a headband with some sharks on it. That's it.
Right. That's kind of what streaming has done for me. That's what like this podcast has done for me. It's given me this confidence in acting a certain way that I don't think I would have before. So it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of support. We've had people from the studio popping by. We've had brand new people to the channel popping by. It's been so much fun. But yeah, as a result, I look good.
You look.
We've been full, and it's not just the beard too. Like I've been dressing up. There's different outfits in the game, and you can mix and match depending on what kind of character traits you want your character to have. So I'll have a beanie on with flip up sunglasses and a ugly necktie with a bathrobe. So
I think that's maybe my favorite part is that it's not just that you shaved your beard into mutton chops and a mustache, but you're doing costume changes throughout the day and mixing and matching your different elements. It's a nice touch.
Yeah,
especially
it's
with how you dress your character in that game.
yeah, and that's one of the most unique things is you get your character traits from the clothes that you wear, and there's a lot of different things that you can do. Now, I think the next couple of days, because I've kind of worn out the things that I do have, I'll continue to wear them, but I think I'm gonna like throw a more personal spin on there. Just some weird stuff that I have around the house that has nothing to do with the game, but just kind of keep the character flowing.
That'd be good.
But yeah, that's kind of what I've the reason for my appearance, as which you guys
So
can't see, but
are you doing a full playthrough? I haven't really talked to you about that yet.
yes. So yeah, I am. In fact, I had to start over today. So I was playing because I had
I
early
was
access.
wondering why you were so early on day one.
Yeah, I was playing the beta version because that was the version that I had access to in Steam, and I got to a part where I couldn't go any further. Something along the cadence of story progression just didn't happen for me. So I had to start the game over, which again, the final version doesn't have that error. It's not a bug to be worried about. I actually sent the save file off to the person that I know at the studio, and he's excited to dig into it and figure out what happened. So in a way, I'm,
Nice.
I'm making the game better.
You're
Um,
helping.
yeah. So, but we started a new game, and coincidentally, at about the same time that we started the new game, they released a Twitch extension for the game, which allows you to have your chat engage in multiple ways. They can click on your character to take a look at them. They can click on your traits, your I think it's like a mental cabinet or something like that. And then they can also choose what dialogue path you take. So if you have 5 options, I can push a button on my end, something pops up on their screen, and they can choose which answer they want you to give, which makes it a lot more fun for the chat to engage
Yeah.
in a game like that. And then they can also give you boons or not boons if there's a challenge coming up.
Boons.
Yeah, if there's a challenge coming up, depending on one of your traits, and let's say you have a 58% chance of pulling it off,
Yeah.
they can vote to up what you need and lower a different one, to kind of get you a better shot at passing those tests. So it's been a lot of fun though. This game
Good.
is just stellar. If you guys have not played Disco Elysium, it is a slower game. I've only ever played it at my computer, but I can't think of a better way to, like, if you have like a PlayStation 5 in your room, or it's on iOS I think as well. Just like a perfect little story time way to like chill down at the end of the day. It's so well written. It's such a great game.
Yeah, I've had it in my EGS list for a while, in my library, but I haven't touched it yet. It seems like something that I need to go in without anything else on my plate, and that's hardly ever the case right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, I'm excited to go in. I was also partially waiting for the final cut. Once I knew that was just going to be a free upgrade for
Yeah.
everyone, so now, well, soon will be my chance, but we'll see when that'll happen. But I'm excited to see you play it. I'm excited to see the people in your chat enjoying your playthroughs of
Mhm.
it. And happy for that team for releasing the final version
Yeah, I mean,
of
I'm
Disco Elysium.
super absorbed with Disco right now, but I can't help it just think about what's in the future for Zom.
Yeah,
They've really knocked it out of the park with this one, and this was really their first game. So they've set themselves up for, hopefully something that they can continue to maintain. I saw a rating from IGN today on it, gave it a perfect 10. So
that's incredible.
yeah,
That's a high score. That's the highest score.
yes, it doesn't go any higher than that.
No,
So
well, I mean, you can make it higher if you wanted to. Take it to 11.
if you want to throw all your credibility out of the
10.5.
window, you can. Yes.
Ah.
But Disco is not the only thing that I'm playing. We're still
Yep.
working through Persona 5, about 120 hours in.
You sure are.
Yep, we've still got a ways to go. So we're
I'm
going to
waiting
be
for that
switching.
costume. Put on your mask. Put on like your trench coat.
Exactly. Get my red latex skin suit that On wears and just call it good.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Nobody wants to see that.
Squeeze into that.
Squeeze.
Dress Jack up like a little cat.
There you go.
Cute.
He could be Morgana.
Be great.
Yeah. People keep telling me I should be Morgana, and I just get
no.
super
that's
aggressively
Jack's.
angry. But yeah, so Persona, we're still playing that. Tomorrow is actually the day we're going back to playing 2 games. I have been playing Disco all day, Monday and Tuesday. So,
Smart choice.
but then I had a chance between Disco releasing and the last game that I had beaten to try out some new stuff, and we played through and beat Blasphemous, kind of a 2D
Looked fun.
Castlevania, Metroidvania, Souls-like combination.
Yeah.
So good. That game was really good. Pixel art is some of the best I've ever seen in a video game. Um, just a really well done Metroidvania. Reasons to explore, reasons to go back and forth. A good sense of progression and unlocking things. Um, Difficult, but not horribly so. Boss fights typically took 2 or 3 tries, and they were generous enough to kind of start you right there. So I had a really good time with that game, and then I played a really small game that I'd heard about a while ago. Put it on my list. Actually, came up on my list, and I was like, I don't know what this is. But it's a game called Zelle, and it's Zelle.
I was gonna say the character from Final Fantasy VIII.
Not Zell Dinkt.
The best
No,
Final
is that
Fantasy.
his name? Zell
Zell.
Zell Dinkt? No, what's his last name? Nah, it's like I think it's I don't know.
I'm looking it
If
up
you
right
can
now.
find it,
I'm not being. Yeah.
it is Dinkt.
Mm-hmm.
Now that maybe that'll be the first time I've said his name out loud,
Yeah, that's
and I
why it
don't like
didn't
the way
sound
it
right to
sounds
me.
out
I'm like,
loud.
no. Most of those last names in 8 are bad, but the rest of
Yeah.
the game is great. So
Right.
disregard last names.
Some would say that Final Fantasy VIII maybe isn't that great, but anyways, Zell. Zell
Those
is
people are fools.
it's a short little kind of it's a horror game, but it has like some levity. It has some heart jerking moments.
Mm.
Really simplistic art, nothing too advanced. You control a character. It starts as kind of a first person dungeon crawler, like you move one scene at a time. Um, it's got a weird, quirky combat system where you have a rosary and you pick the right color of the rosary and that's how you attack enemies based on their eye color. It's just a really unique,
Oh,
strange
weird.
game.
Yeah.
And then it turns into kind of a almost it's got some Undertale qualities in the latter half of the game, but it's only 3 hours. It was a 3.5 hour game. But yeah, it's a good change up for the channel, something unique. So
Good.
John,
Yeah,
I know you've been playing one game,
I have.
and I'm assuming it's the only game you've been playing.
It's Magic the Gathering Arena on iPhone.
Surprise!
It exists now. Yeah, I've been playing that. But also, I have been playing the newest release, the hottest release on the Nintendo Switch. Came out on Friday. It is Monster Hunter Rise. I almost said World. It's been years of saying World. Monster Hunter Rise is out. And it's apparently a huge hit around the world. Smashed Animal Crossing numbers, which is
Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
At least I think in Japan.
holy smokes!
It's sold like 4 million copies already. Like everywhere but here is insane about Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter Rise. See, I did it.
You did it.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise is really fun. I have about 18 hours or so into it.
Okay.
I am sticking with the hammer for now. For people who don't know, Monster Hunter is a game where you choose one of like 14 different types of weapons. The one that I chose is the hammer. It's very up close and personal and very tactile to use. Really just smashing monsters' faces in. But it's almost like I want to say it's like a boss rush game a little bit. Like you go out, you're specifically hunting a specific monster, or 3. I mean, you can do multiple monsters at once. But each monster is like its own boss fight, has its own characteristics. They have their own traits. They have their own personalities. So you kind of have to learn all of the monsters' moves and tells and all the strategies for taking on those monsters with the specific weapon that you have, because approaching it with every weapon is going to be pretty much different. With the hammer, I want to aim for heads, and I want to aim for usually their legs to, I guess, in a uh, unsavory way to cripple them and concuss them. But like with other weapons, with like swords, you're trying to like cut off like part like their tail, or like there's different parts of a monster that you want to hit with different weapons depending on if it's like a blunt weapon or a sharp weapon or a ranged weapon of some sort. And as you defeat these monsters, you get pieces from them, which then you turn into uh, you craft different armors and new weapons that have traits from those monsters. So that's kind of like the full loop is you go and hunt monsters, you get better gear, so you can hunt stronger monsters, and then you just keep going with that loop. There's quite a few different monsters in there. The series has been going for like 20 years or so. So they've been building up a roster for quite a while. Not everything's in there. They are focusing on more Japanese inspired monsters for this one. There's a lot of feudal Japan era iconography and style from like the village that all of your pre-hunting needs are in. Like that's where you shop, that's where you craft, that's where you eat food.
Kind of similar to
That's where
the
that's where
hub
you
world
prepare.
in my or in Monster Hunter World, that first area.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Same thing.
What when you compare World to Rise,
Yeah.
is it 1-to-1? I mean, in terms of how the game flows, what what your objective is,
Mhm.
it's the same thing. It's just the newest version of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry,
So
that sounds derivative. I don't mean to be derivative of it.
no, like it is the same template. Like you go back to your village or your hub or your whatever. You prepare for your hunt, and then you go out and like select a mission, and you go and complete that mission. Then you come back to the hub and then prepare for the next one. Um, all of that is basically the same loop. Like you're still building similar weapons, you're building similar gear or armor. But like there are nuances that are different. Like between World and this one, they added something called wire bugs, and wire bugs are a way of giving you additional mobility. You kind of use them like a grappling hook that you could shoot them anywhere. So you could shoot it like directly diagonal up, and it'll fling you upwards so you can get above a monster and actually attack from the sky, which usually wasn't a thing before. Um, and those wire bugs also add additional moves to each weapon. So each weapon has uh, at least 3 more attacks than they used to have. And they've also switched up how some of the weapons work, and some of the moves that they have available. There's always those little tweaks between Monster Hunter releases. Um, but I think the wire bug stuff is probably the most uh, game changing system that they've added.
Okay.
Oh, also you can just climb stuff a lot easier. So you can shoot a wire bug up towards a wall and wall run up, and then jump off the wall and kind of like wire bug up more. So they added a lot of verticality to it. It's a little bit like Breath of the Wild, I would compare it to, for like the amount of like access that you have to the world now, um, and like the exploration that you can do. Um, during hunts, I usually don't explore too much. Or like if you're actually fighting a monster and you're like focusing on taking down a monster, like the ability to climb up to the top of a tower or a mountain doesn't really come into play. Like that's more for foraging for different plants or ore or any other collectibles that you're trying to find to also prep for more hunts that you go on later. I know this the like Monster Hunter on paper sounds awesome, and it is. But like hearing people talk about it and kind of like break it down with like what it is, it's like, so you just kind of go out and you fight this thing, and you come back and you're just doing this grind over and over. It's like, yeah, like I know that part doesn't sound necessarily appealing to a lot of people. Like a lot of people don't like the repetition.
Yeah, and I think we've even talked about it on this show where I've tried Monster Hunter World,
Mm-hmm.
but after like the third hunt, I'm just like, is this it? But I mean, it doesn't click with me, but I get why it clicks with other people.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, I mean, World was obviously not available on Switch. It sounds like this is the Monster Hunter for the Switch, for that fandom.
It is. Yep.
So yeah,
until it comes out on PC.
It is coming out on PC as well
next year.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is kind of the lessons they took from World and the complaints that people had with World, and it's kind of like meeting in the middle for longtime Monster Hunter fans. It's a little bit more like older Monster Hunters, but it has a lot of the quality of life improvements that World brought over. So,
okay.
I highly recommend it, even for newcomers. It onboards you pretty well. Also, if you have a friend who plays Monster Hunter, or if you can rope somebody into playing Monster Hunter with you, do it. It's a lot more fun, I think, with a group of people. Just because you have that coordination, and people can play different roles in a fight. People can have different weapons, and I don't know. There's just a nice dynamic to having a multiplayer boss fight. But also, don't be afraid to play by yourself for a few hours and try to like chip away at what Monster Hunter is, and how like the combat flows and how weapons work, because it might just take some time for you to find something that clicks for you. It took me 3 or 4 Monster Hunter games to even like get past like 6 hours in one of these.
And now you're Gonzo.
Yeah. Now it's one of my favorite series ever. So,
and that's cool. I mean,
yeah,
it's, you stuck with it, and now something finally clicked. It's like I get frustrated sometimes because it sounds like the kind of thing, not just with Monster Hunter but other games too. It's like, I should love it. Divinity, we talk about it a lot because I've been playing Disco Elysium, a game like Divinity. Like, oh, if you love this, you should love this, and I'm like, I know, and I want to, but when I play it, I don't, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anything else you've been playing?
Magic the Gathering. No, I think that's about it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take a quick look here. I played a little bit of Magic Legends. I don't have much to say about it at the moment. Kind of got sidetracked with Monster Hunter World. But Magic Legends is a action RPG based on the Magic the Gathering license. It's made by Cryptic Studios. I'm accidentally launching it right now. I hope I can close that immediately. I did. Yeah, it's a action RPG, something like a Diablo, where all of your spells are drawn from a deck. So you have I think up to 12 cards you can have in your deck, or 12 spells. And those are, I think you can play with a controller, but I was playing it with mouse and keyboard. So like, let's say 1 through 4 are your spell keys. If you cast your spell that's on 1, that spell goes away, and then you draw a new spell, and it has like a cooldown. So you're kind of kept on your toes a lot about like what spells are going to be coming up, but you can also build your deck in ways that you can anticipate what spells might be available to you, and have certain builds. I haven't played it long enough to get through the tutorial, which I hear is very long. And it sounds like Cryptic is making some changes to that game. It's in beta. It's free. You can play it on the Epic Game Store right now. I'd say give it a look. It's very early though.
Okay. And I'm intrigued by the Diablo aspect of it. Do you have a regular attack, or do you have to attack using a card every time?
You have a regular attack, and then I think you have like a You have a regular attack. You have, I think, like 2 class abilities. So,
Okay.
like, I was playing as a green mage who was like a beastmaster, I think, and you carry a giant axe. So one of my abilities was to summon uh, Aether Fox. I think it was just like a companion that I would always have. A lot of your spells are going to be creatures that you summon. So every class I think is a little bit like a pet class. All of the creatures just kind of fight for themselves. You don't actually control them. Um, but for like my green mage, the other attack was like throwing the giant axe in like a direction, and it would fly back to me.
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting. That's
Yeah,
actually that's a Magic game I might be interested in checking out.
right, and it,
So
it plays with the actual Magic IP and the characters, and uh playing around with like what planeswalkers are and what planes are, and going to different planes and casting spells. It's an interesting take on it. Um, we'll see if they pull off a good game with that flavor. So
okay. Well, nice. Well, if you guys have enjoyed the first 19 episodes and the first 20 minutes of this one, please go over to Apple Music and leave us a 5-star review. Apple Podcasts, not music. We're not on music. We
I
could
mean,
sing, but we don't.
be bad.
It would be, yeah.
At least for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm not drunk enough to do this.
Not yet.
Right, yeah. Yeah, leave a 5-star review. That would mean the world to us. Also, if you really enjoy the show, share it. Share it on your social medias, Twitters, Facebooks, whatever else is out there. That means the world to us. That means a lot to us. So you can reach out to us as well if you want to comment on the show, participate, tell us we're right, tell us we're wrong. Please do reach out to us at patreon.com/procedurally generated. We have our Twitter, PG_show, our email, pgshowinbox@gmail.com. Our Discord is linked below, and our YouTube is also linked below. All of our shows end up on YouTube. We have plans to do more stuff on YouTube in the future, but we got to get there first. So if you like it even a little bit, and you want to throw us a couple dollars on Patreon as well, we would greatly appreciate that. That's what's going to help us grow and create some new content and keep things rolling. So, without further ado, John, should we roll right into game number 1 here?
Please.
All right.
If you would do the honors, sir.
I would love to. I would love to. For
Bring
our
us to
first
this
game,
new age.
I see what you did there. This we got our first game developed by Eurocom Developments, published by Vivendi Universal Games. We have a licensed third-person action platformer released in 2006, released on the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the Wii, Windows, Xbox, Nintendo DS, and Game Boy Advance. We are covering the GameCube version of this game. We're looking at Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. Yay!
Yeah. My brain melts down when I think about Ice Age.
Yeah?
It's
That's the opposite that should happen. Your brain should get cold.
just stops functioning. One way or another, it stops functioning. For whatever reason, I was as a teenager, I was a huge like Pixar snob. So
not the
like
first
that was
time that's
like
come
the
up on the
the
show,
only
by the way.
like the only like CG animated thing that I would be really into is like Pixar stuff.
Mhm.
Anything other than that would just be like I wouldn't touch it. It was too kiddie. Just did not want anything to do with it. And in the last, I want to say like the last like 10 years or so, I've started to come around on like more DreamWorks stuff. But for whatever reason, Ice Age is one of those series that I have never watched. I've 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 probably seen like pieces of it on TV, but I've never like sat down and watched the whole Ice Age movie. I've watched the whole Crudes movie, but not an Ice Age.
Okay.
Which is odd. And Crudes 2 was okay, actually.
I don't think I've
I
seen
know
the second one.
we've talked about the first one.
We had a Crudes game on here, and we talked about the Crudes, but I think at that same point, I think you said specifically then that you were a Pixar snob. So I think you should just probably put that in your Twitter bio.
I should just Pixar snob. Weirdly enough, I haven't seen like the last 3 Pixar movies, so
Oh man, they're probably good if the ones I'm thinking of.
Soul,
Oh, so good.
Onward.
Oh, you have to watch Onward. I don't care
Yeah,
what
I know. I
you
need to
need to
watch both
leave
of.
this podcast right now and go
Yeah, I
put
mean,
Onward on.
Onward hit like when the pandemic hit, so I was preoccupied by the world ending for a year.
And I used Onward as like, this is how I'm going to get through this pandemic.
Yeah, I want my son to miss me like these sons do. Uh, yeah.
um,
So, but this is also, this game comes from like the heyday of the licensed video game,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mid 2000s. Um, everything that was potentially turned into from a movie to a video game was, and I think most of them were done by this studio. If I was looking at that list correctly,
Yeah, they were busy turning
they
these
were.
things out. I never saw the second Ice Age movie. If I did, I don't remember anything about it. I know I've seen an Ice Age movie. I think they're fine. I think they're
The cast doesn't excite me. Ray Romano, John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo's all right. Dennis Leary, Alan Tudyk, Jay Leno all lend their voices in this game.
you forgot Queen Latifah, Sean
She
William
wasn't in
Scott.
the list.
Oh,
They were not in the cast list for this
oh,
game.
really? Oh, yeah. Well, they did.
At
They
least
did.
not in
They
the
were
credits in the game,
okay.
but they might have
Well,
been.
what is Ice Age 2? So, Ice
Yes.
Age 2, you play as Scrat the squirrel, which is basically the mascot of that movie, despite not existing
If you've
too much
seen
within the
any
movie.
trailer for Ice Age, you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's a
the little
squirrel.
rat squirrel.
It's
Not
chasing
rat.
a walnut, an acorn,
Acorn.
and it's getting into very deadly situations just trying to eat this acorn.
Yeah, sacrificing life and limb to salvage this one acorn.
Yes,
So,
people
as
love it.
yeah, as Scrat, your goal is to help everyone escape the impending flood. I don't know the core of the movie well enough to understand how they know a flood is coming, but that's fine. Much of the game consists of hunting down acorns and other special nuts for health renewal or for unlocking bonuses. There are also a few mini
Don't
games.
say special nuts.
Special nuts. There are also a few mini games within the game where you play as Sid, who is what is he?
Sid
Sloth?
is a sloth. I think.
Sloth. Yeah, he's the one voiced by John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
So immediately, right off the bat, this game makes no sense. Okay, I'm realizing
Sure.
that it's a fictional cartoon world where the animals talk to each other.
Yes.
But Scrat is pursuing this one acorn while picking up hundreds of acorns along the way.
It's not the one though.
But it is.
Have you ever chased that one acorn in your life, Chris?
No.
There's so many acorns out there, Chris, but sometimes you just need that one, and you'll do everything within your power to get that one acorn.
Right.
You will brave floods. You will brave the melting of the polar ice caps. I guess the whole world would be a polar ice cap. It's the Ice Age. You will befriend a mammoth and a sloth and a saber-toothed tiger. I don't know the story of Ice Age at all.
I mean, all of that sounds fine. I mean, yeah, it's okay. But you play a Scrat the whole time.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah,
it's what I mean.
Pushing things forward, and so somehow your objective is to save everybody. I watched a little bit of gameplay from it.
I watched most of a playthrough of this game.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's really just Scrat running around. It's a 3D platformer. You're collecting different nuts. And I think you're just mostly traversing. There's not a lot of like puzzles.
Yeah.
That I noticed. It's just a lot of running and jumping.
Collectathon.
And you're playing as the most inconsequential member of the cast of characters in the movie.
Yeah.
Because like everyone else, I think, are the actual main characters, like Manny, Sid, Diego.
Yeah, and they're all. I mean, they got the the voice actors to voice the roles in this game as well. So Ray
And
Romano
boy,
is
Ray
in
Romano sounds bored. Just
yes.
gotta say.
Yeah. But the game was released 17 days before the movie, which I thought was
Oh,
interesting. I
sure.
don't know when games typically release, if it's before or
Sometimes it would
after.
be a couple weeks before,
Was it?
if
Okay.
not. Yeah,
Interesting.
it depended on the game, but
I assume it's
sometimes it
kind
was a
of,
little bit before.
I don't know how much it follows the story itself, so maybe
There
it's
are
inconsequential, but
cutscenes in there that are from the movie,
okay.
but it's usually like Ray Romano talking over it and like describing what's happening in the story.
Okay.
So
Strange.
it's not fully scenes from the movie, but there are animations from the movie in it. Speaking of animations, though, I think they did a really nice job with the animation work in this. There's a lot of very like character specific traits and movements that I think they get pretty right. Like Sid moves very well in the animations that I saw him in. Scrat moves in very specific ways. Like Scrat swimming actually looks really nice. Um, there's a lot of little animation touches that um, I think a studio would probably have to be able to nail if they're going to be consistently making licensed movies for companies like is this a DreamWorks thing?
Is Ice Age 2 DreamWorks? I don't. It's. I feels like it.
Let me see here. Sorry to throw that in there. But to have like a pretty big company, it's Blue Sky and 20th Century
Yes.
Fox. So
Okay.
yes, that's right. This is all owned by Disney now.
Oh,
I forgot
are
Ice
these
Age
guys
is
on?
now a
Is this
Disney
on? Is
property,
this on Disney
which
Plus?
means it is on Disney Plus, actually.
I have to introduce it to Jack. See what he thinks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he'll love it.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, this is Everybody Loves Raymond. And then this is the guy from The Pest.
I don't know what the pest is.
Oh man.
I know. Is this another
Chris.
MacGruber situation?
Oh, in a very different way. In a very different way. Yeah, I'll send you a video later.
Okay.
So we
So
don't
in
need to
terms,
get into it here. It's a classic John Leguizamo film.
oh, okay. I can. Okay, I can. I think I know. I think I know the character. I think I've
I'm gonna
just
send you
seen.
the opening video to The
Okay.
Pest.
Perfect.
And, I'll probably post it in the Discord as well, because
Now that we've talked about it,
now that we've talked about
people are
it,
dying to know.
it's been we've talked about it for too long now. People
Yep.
must see it. I will warn you though, it's stupid.
Perfect.
It's real dumb.
The only kind of additional. I mean, what do you have anything else on kind of the gameplay? It seemed real basic.
There's
collect stuff,
they
move on to the next level, collect stuff.
Yeah, they do have little interludes with mini games. So there is penguin bowling, which looked kind of fun. There's a level where you're playing as Sid and you're sliding down this big ice flow. And then there's parts within that Sid's like flying through the air, and there's like a rhythm game, and he's doing like different like dive poses as he's flying through the air. And then there's a part where you're playing as Diego, the saber-toothed tiger, and doing like a whack-a-mole mini game. So they do split up levels a little bit with those mini games, but you're not spending a lot of time with the main characters of the movie, which I think is a little bit concerning. But a lot of people like Scrat, so I understand that being a big pull for the game, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know. It was a direction that they decided to go with. I'm sure it worked out well. And in fact, I mean, I have some of the numbers. Some of them are goofy numbers, but it got as high as number 2 on the UK sales charts for the week ending April 15th, 2006.
Wow, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and it was only behind Tomb Raider Legend.
It was April though.
Right. Not the most busy week. It stayed on the list for 8 weeks. So it was, I mean, it didn't stay there long, but another thing that I thought was interesting, there was um, GameFly rentals were tracked on Gamasutra. And for the week ending April 3rd, 2006, Ice Age 2 was the fourth most popular GameCube rental behind Naruto, Clash of Ninja, Super Mario Strikers, and Sonic
I like Clash
Riders.
of Ninja. It's a good
Okay.
game.
But yeah, so I was actually surprised. Again, my brain automatically, I can't help this. My brain automatically goes to licensed game from this era probably sucks. And it
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, at least it was at least selling well. I don't know. I guess I didn't see anything related to the actual review scores, how the game did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious if there's Moby scores. No, there's not even any Moby.
It looked like it functioned well.
Mm-hmm.
It looked rather okay. Like I said, like the animations were probably the most impressive thing to me, but like it looked like a pretty basic licensed property from 2006.
Yeah. Just curious if I can find a quick. Well, actually, I guess Metacritic does have stuff from PS2 and GameCube generation.
Yeah.
Okay, so PS2 has it at 68 for a Metascore with an 8.1 user score.
Sounds right.
All right.
I saw people in the there's a playthrough that I was watching on YouTube, and like the first couple comments were like, I remember every bit of this game. Which I guess for some, if they grew up on this, makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of the Chester Cheetah games. I remember Cool Spot. So like,
it doesn't necessarily
their
speak to
version
the
of that,
quality
huh?
of the game. It speaks to what you had at the time, especially as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I played a lot of really bad games and I really liked them and didn't find out they were bad games until I was much older. And I'm not even saying this is a bad game, but it's hard to get a good feel for
Final Fantasy VII. I hear you.
I will.
I'm
I will
joking.
leave
Don't kill me
right now.
Don't break my microphone.
Man, I can't believe you just backhanded me like that.
It's tilted.
Didn't even see it coming.
No.
What I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. I don't even know.
I just filled your eyes with rage, canceling the podcast. No, we were talking about sales and reception and stuff, and
yeah,
I mean, what can you say about sales and reception on a licensed, on like a movie game?
Well, sales seem strong because Ice Age 2 was called out often as kind of one of the things that it was a couple games combined, but Vivendi also at this time, I don't think I'm getting my games mixed up. They would have also been the ones publishing World of Warcraft. Because that was like
Universal. Yeah. They were like the parent company of Blizzard at the time.
Yeah, so Vivendi would give out their sales figures, how we're doing. World of Warcraft would be its own thing. Well, even this was still early.
It's the first Warcraft year.
Yeah. So at the time, it was even written kind of strange, like, in this World of Warcraft, kind of like before it was this, what this is kind of a thing. Before it was that, it was World of Warcraft and then some of these smaller licensed games, which were still just super popular. So
yeah.
If you want to play this game, I did find it for I found it on Amazon and I found it on eBay. If you want it cheap, eBay is your way to go. $5. If you want it on Amazon, it's $48 for a used copy.
I think I saw it for like 22 or something.
On Amazon, did you?
On Amazon, I think.
Okay, cool.
I think it depends on which version you're looking at. I think I just searched for the actual name of the game and not the version.
Yeah, I guess I did look for the GameCube specific, so I don't know.
Now there is a portable version of this. There's one for DS, there's one for GBA, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't really look into those. I don't know how those differ in any way, but
didn't either. They were actually like labeled as different entries in Moby games, which makes me think that they must play at least different. They must be some sort of.
It's got to be completely different. I mean, you're dealing with GameCube and DS.
Yeah, so I included them on this list, but at the same time, I also had reservations about doing it because they could be. They obviously they must be different games entirely. But that's the thing.
Right.
Everything within we have Ice Age 2, the Meltdown, the movie,
Yes.
the one that released on GameCube, the
Uh-huh.
Nintendo DS, the Game Boy
Hmm.
Advance. These are all four very different things, but have the exact same goddamn name.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the easiest thing to
This
try
wasn't
to
like
parse out in Google.
scraps or something. Like there wasn't.
Yeah, it didn't
I
have a
didn't think of
clever
a
subtitle. It was
clever.
just
Yeah.
Ice Age 2, the Meltdown. Good luck.
Buy it. Spend money on it.
Exactly.
You
That's
love that
probably
little
that's probably
acorn
how it
rat.
sold so well. People are like, "Oh, I'm buying the movie." This isn't the movie.
What? Excuse me? It's kind of in there. Ray Romano's in there.
That's right. That's all I really have for Ice Age 2.
Do you have anything for Eurocom
I thought I did.
themselves?
And wait, Eurocom. Yes.
I guess that would be the only other thing to really talk about. I didn't really have anything on specific developers from Eurocom because it seemed like they all just kind of worked on Eurocom games. So like if you speak about the company itself, you're speaking about most of the developers that worked on this specific game.
Well, I was going to say what I can say is that I accidentally clicked on Ice Age 2 the Meltdown for the Nintendo DS on Mobi, and that was made by
Perfect.
Amaze Entertainment. So they're not developed by Eurocom. So they
Oh,
must
I
be
thought they
completely different
were.
games.
Oh, okay.
The GameCube version is, but the
Yeah.
DS version, I don't know about the GBA
Oh, yes.
version.
Yes, it is Amaze. You're right. You're right.
Uh,
Different games.
I did research on Eurocom, but I didn't write any of it down. So we're going to do this off, do this on the fly.
Yeah. They were a developer that was based out of Derby, England, which I feel like there's been a couple developers that are out of Derby that we've talked about. Have we talked about Eurocom before?
I can check.
Let me
It doesn't
just
ring a bell.
zip through here. I don't think so, actually. But they did work on a lot of licensed titles. So they also worked with Midway on some of their games. They did a port of War Gods to N64 and PlayStation from the arcade version for Midway, which led them into doing also the Mortal Kombat 4 port to consoles. They worked on NBA Showtime for N64 and PlayStation. Played the hell out of that game. Hydro Thunder, they ported that from arcades. Mortal Kombat Gold, which is the Dreamcast version of Mortal Kombat 4. They did that themselves. But then going into the 2000s, they worked on 007 games. So they did The World Is Not Enough for N64. They did Nightfire for GameCube and PS2 and Xbox. And then moving into well, of course, they did Ice Age. They did Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, G-Force, Dead Space Extraction, which I think was that the Wii light gun shooter.
Yep.
But then they did the remake of GoldenEye for the Wii, and then did the re-release for that on PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U. Oh no, sorry. 007 Legends was on Wii U. I'm getting my games mixed up.
So if that one was on Wii U, that must be their most recent. That was
Their most recent game was 007 Legends.
Yep. Okay.
Which was them taking their I guess success with the GoldenEye remake and just taking all of the James Bond characters and putting them into a game.
Yeah.
Making their own original James Bond thing. Shortly after that, in 2012, the studio laid off about 75% of their 200 employees, and then they closed in December of 2012. So,
and to answer your question, no, we have not covered any other Eurocom games on the show.
Gotcha. I just remember Derby being a studio. It's probably for like
it could have been
Le Mans
things. Yeah, sounds right.
But they also worked on like Harry Potter games, Rugrats, Crash Bandicoot game for GameCube. I think that might have just been a port of the Wrath of Cortex. But yeah, lots of licensed stuff. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, which is a movie that I've seen on TV a lot lately, and I wish I hadn't. Robots. If you remember Robots.
I do remember. I watch Robots almost once a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really enjoy that movie.
It's a
And
cool
was
movie.
excited to show
It's a
it
good movie.
to Jack. Robin Williams
Yeah.
is in there. Oh man, it's just
Who's the main character in that? Is that
who plays him?
Oh boy. Who's it?
You mean the who voices him?
Yeah.
It is
Rodney Copperbottom. Ewan McGregor.
Is that who it is?
It's Ewan McGregor. Yeah.
Han Solo?
No, what?
No, not Han Solo. I'm sorry.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
How dare you?
There was
who's reading through all of the
Yeah.
Star Wars stuff.
That was a whiff. Where is it Ewan McGregor? I can't believe that.
It is. I'm looking at it right now.
I think you're crazy.
The cast in there is Ewan McGregor, Halle Berry, Robin Williams, Mel Brooks, Greg Kinnear, Jim Broadbent,
Paul
Amanda
Abdul.
Bynes. Remember Amanda Bynes? Drew Carey. Stanley Tucci's in it.
Terry Bradshaw.
Love some Tucci. Giamatti. Jay Leno again.
What a cast.
Robots was actually made by the same director who did Ice Age, who voices Scrat. Chris Wedge.
Well, there you go. There's the connection.
There's your connection.
I don't have anything else on this game.
That's it. That's actually more than I thought we'd talk about. Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. Maybe I'll watch it sometime now that Scrat is a Disney princess.
What?
Ice Age is owned by Disney.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
I wasn't making that connection.
That's my joke. Whenever somebody is bought by a big corporation, I say this character is now a blank princess because people were talking about Princess Leia being a Disney princess when
Oh, okay. Now that checks
Disney
out.
bought LucasArts. Or yeah. Anyways, it's my terrible joke of the day.
Perfect. Got it out of the way.
I think we should probably take a break.
Yeah, got it out of the way before the break. That's pretty good.
Refuel. Come back with two more games.
That
Chris,
sounds good.
What are you thinking? All right. See you in a bit.
That's what I was going to say. Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of episode 20 of Procedurally Generated. John, how was your break?
Torturous, apparently.
I don't know. Something about you trying to deal with that cough drop.
I'm just
on my end, it was troubling to watch. I just hope you're okay.
Just don't look at me. Ever. It's a troubling existence. It's not worth it. This will never be a video podcast now. No one can ever know my pain, my shame.
I don't know. If it's just cough drops, I'm not sure what happened. But anyways,
John,
why don't you introduce us to game number 2 for the day?
Oh my gosh. Game number 2 is an indie title. Released for the Nintendo Switch. This says in 2020. I believe it was originally released in 2019 on PC. Maybe?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I have 2019 as a release date for Switch and 2020 on PC. Do I have that backwards? Okay. I could have that backwards.
I don't know.
That sounds backwards.
It was released in those 2 years on those 2 platforms.
You got to figure out the rest.
Go for it, you gumshoes, you little sleuths out there.
That's right.
This is developed by Bigosaur, and I believe published by Bigosaur as well.
What does D.O.O stand for? I've never seen that before. But the company is Bigosaur D.O.O.
I don't know. It could be a Serbian thing.
Bigosaur.
Bigosaur is a Serbian developer. By the way, this game is Windmill Kings.
Yes,
a real-time strategy game for the Switch and the PC. Chris, Windmill Kings, gameplay wise, how would you describe it? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, you threw out RTS, and I have
It's
RTS in my genre name, but I also threw in side perspective 2D RTS.
like a linear tower defense.
Yeah, with only one point, almost like a reverse tug of war.
Like a It's like a Clash Royale with one lane and less going on. Less microtransactions for sure.
True, yes.
You control a castle, and you are constantly pumping units out of that castle, whether it's archers, healers, brutes. There's various there's there's various units that come out of that castle. On the opposite end of the screen is another castle that's also pumping out units.
Mm-hmm.
They meet in the middle and they attack each other, and the goal is to knock out the other person's castle.
Yeah.
That's it. That is Windmill Kings.
That's how it goes. The thing that I found interesting was that when you start the game, you have one unit. It's a soldier, I think. I don't know what it's actually called. It's just a soldier
It's a
or
knight.
a knight.
It's a
Okay.
knight. Yes.
So you basically spend that first game just spamming as many soldiers as you can to take out the other team.
The healers that are in a barn.
Yes, that's what it was.
Just burning down a barn.
So you're basically murdering the innocent.
And like storyline wise, you're trying to convince them to join you. There's a clone of you. You are the king.
Mm-hmm.
There's a clone that a wizard has put into your castle. So it is impersonating you. Your goal is to retake your kingdom, and you're going building to building on this map that actually looks like a tower defense map. It's like this top-down map and has different points on it, like a barn, a windmill. Hey, that's the name of the game, Windmill Kings.
Weird.
There's just various points that you're traveling to, and then you would get into the combat scenario, which is what we discussed before. And you're trying to convince these different units to join you. So as you defeat these units, you gain access to them in battle. It's kind of like its way of onboarding you to all the different types of units.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a slightly more you. I forgot what you just likened it to, but the overworld map, the first, which I'm calling it an overworld map because as soon as I looked at it, I saw it for just a second and I was like, was that identical to the Super Mario 3 World 1 map? It's alarmingly similar.
Almost.
There's some lanes and stuff like that, but there's some, you can take different paths and it ends in a castle. But you're working your way through there, making stops and choosing who you want to fight, when you want to fight. If you can beat them, they join your squad. You keep getting more power, more units you can put on the field. But you put these units on the field by gaining coins through combat. So it's kind of a clicker game in that regard.
And as you're unlocking these buildings on the map, like if you unlock like Windmill specifically, they give you more gold at the beginning of your combat phase.
Yeah, the reason that it's Windmill Kings is because whoever controls the windmills therefore controls the gold.
Yes.
So that's why windmills are so important in this game.
Yep. I never knew that about war.
I didn't know windmills were just gold mines. Now we know.
If only wind turbines were as precious, or as seen as precious as these windmills are.
That's the game. There's
a bunch of different units. There's like, let's see here, 8 different units, and then there's different magical effects as well. You can rain fire from the sky. You can drop a blizzard. I think you can also make a bigger like demon or bigger monster come out. But yeah, you were just collecting those various things, and then I think getting to the castle and finishing the game there. There is like a dark side map as well, which I think is just harder scenarios. I haven't seen any gameplay of it though, so I'm
Mhm.
not 100% sure. Um, but yeah, like the line through the game looks pretty basic,
Yeah,
pretty simple.
and it's the kind of thing that you could mindlessly play and pass
Totally.
the time. If you needed a couple minutes, to kill whatever, bring up Windmill Kings. It's a very casual experience, it looks like. And I wouldn't even say it looked I don't think it looked bad by any stretch. I think it's just very
No, it looks fine.
mundane. It
Yeah.
is what it is. It knows what it is, and
So,
it looks like it does it very well.
yeah. They did add player versus player modes, so you can actually go against a friend. I'm not sure if that's on one Switch or if
Oh
that's
yeah.
online multiplayer. There's also a player versus computer, so you can test your metal against the AI. I'm on with a fully stocked force. Um, that's about it for extra modes.
Yeah.
It's not
Small game.
not a lot.
Um it's $4.99 on Steam, nine
Hmm.
ninety nine on Switch.
Yes.
So you pay that Nintendo tax, but for essentially the same thing. But I mean it's a small game, not a lot to it beyond that.
Well, and seeing that it's and because it's a small game, we should point out it's actually made by one person.
Mhm.
Begasaur is a one person development team. Uh, their name is
And I actually didn't realize that until you said that because he does the development, but I was looking at the credits and I saw people credit for the music and things like that. It just didn't cross my mind that only one person was doing the actual developing. So
yeah. So it's a gentleman named Milan Babuskov, who I believe is a Serbian developer. Uh, they are in their 40s. They're a software engineer. They've been doing that for over 20 years. But they also make games. And they've made a handful of games that have appeared on PC and on Switch, um, including this game called Son of a Witch, which is a roguelike, a mix of roguelike, uh, like Castle Crashers. He said was part of his inspiration. You do 1 to 4 players with it, but also has a little bit of Binding of Isaac gameplay. You get different abilities, and they mix and match. I saw some like gameplay wise, it looked a bit like Isaac, like definitely shoot like twin stick shootery, um, boss battles. I didn't look into it too much because I was more concerned with Windmill Kings. But I believe Son of a Witch was a game that brought him quite a bit of success and kind of blew up. What he says on accident, and is currently just funding his other projects. Um, I believe he keeps on adding new classes to Son of a Witch because it is the more popular title of the games that he's released. Um, which I think is kind of neat, especially for like a roguelike, multiplayer roguelike, having different classes in there. Sounds cool.
yeah,
But
and
like I said, I don't know too much about it. But if it kind of caught on,
I loves me
it
some Binding of
can't,
Isaac. So
can't be that bad.
if it is similar to that in any way, that's to me that's worth checking out. So
Yeah,
and it's
it
cool.
says
Like
that there's 120 different weapons and items
okay,
with various synergies that lead to emerging gameplay.
I love to hear like a small developer find something that works
Yeah.
and that funds them to come up with more stuff and create new things. It's man, I can't imagine being a developer on a small team, let alone by myself, just having the confidence or even the kind of fortitude to create a game, put it out there,
Hmm.
knowing that you're only going to get so many shots at this, having, and the idea of having one take off to just kind of like, all right, I can kind of like, I got some breathing room. I got this thing that works. It works as a little bit of like a cash machine for me. I can, dabble in some other things where if that game maybe doesn't hit it, he's not making games anymore, and that idea that just never comes to fruition. Or you know, I'll always cheer for the little guy.
Yeah.
And that's good to hear. Again,
Yeah.
I from what I saw of this game, there's not a lot to it, but I could see myself sitting down and probably playing through it.
Totally.
So
It seems short enough. It seems competent enough. There's enough going on with it to seem interesting. Yeah, I mean, you could spend a good couple hours and see it through.
yeah. So, and like I said, cheaper on Steam. I surprisingly, and surprisingly in multiple regards, I went through Bigosaur to just kind of check out some of their other games, because I assumed that every game that I saw on there would have been released on mobile as well. Not the case. There's only like 2 or 3 that have been released on Android or iOS. So this is one of those that I'm like, I kind of wish it was on iOS. I might get that, but
well, I mean, Switch is pretty close. Take it out of the dock and
true.
sit down with it.
But
that's actually surprising, Chris. You want to play a mobile game?
I know it's very strange.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, I have my Hill Climb Racing and my Hill Climb Racing 2. And that's about as far as I go with mobile games. Those games are awesome, by the way. This is not the time to talk about it, but man, those 2 games are fantastic.
May I introduce you to Magic the Gathering Arena?
That doesn't sound like you climb any hills in cars.
How about oh god, what's the name? What was that Jetpack game from like 10 years ago? Jetpack Joyrides.
Oh, I'm familiar.
It's
that was also
fun.
on PlayStation 3.
Why would you play it there? That's a mobile game.
It was full
through.
free.
That's true.
That's anyways, Windmill
Final Fantasy
Kings.
Tactics. So,
Project Triangle Strategy.
Yes. Hey, did you know that I think Final Fantasy 8 is on mobile?
Yeah, that just happened this last week.
Yeah. It's very cool.
I did, yeah, saw that.
More people that could play the best Final Fantasy game out there.
Oh my god, better. You are.
I don't know how well that's going to control. How do you boost? How do you boost GFs in there? You just mash on the screen.
Play the game. Windmill Kings. Anyways,
Windmill Kings.
By
Bigosaur.
Bigosaur. They have been developing games since 2013. Their first game was Drone Invaders. Their most recent game was called The Game Is On. I don't know what that could be, any number of things. So I didn't take a chance to look into it, but that was released in 2020.
I guess there are other games, A New Life, Gods of Sparta, Cedars, and Rogue Bit. I think I've heard of Rogue Bit before. It's kind of a ASCII looking green screen computery looking game. Yeah. I don't know anything about it though.
Yeah, and the only Switch seems to be the only console that they developed before. None of their stuff has hit PlayStation, Xbox, anything like that. They also do.
It's
PC,
mostly
and
because they were developing on PC for some of their earlier games, and he learned how to port to Switch, and the games have just been easy ports since then, since they're running on the same engine. So
that's a good reason.
Yeah. Hey. And also, I mean, if you're gonna release indie games on anything right now, especially stuff that isn't going to reach a broad audience, I think that the Switch is probably the easiest way to get it out to people.
Yeah,
agreed. I think more people are giving games a shot on Switch than they would on PS4 or Xbox for indie titles.
The only thing that always jumps out to me, and I mentioned it a second ago, is that Nintendo tax. Nintendo games always seem to be a little bit more expensive than everything else, and it's that's one thing. It's good that people try them out, but it sucks that it costs them a little bit more than it would anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So
just just wait for a sale.
Yeah,
I mean they actually have pretty good sales on Switch, especially for like indie games sometimes.
First party stuff, not so much.
No, not so much at all.
All right. Well, that's all I've got for Windmill Kings.
Yeah, same.
All right.
Oh, by the way, before we start this next game, are you ready for Mario's execution tomorrow? You ready for him to be put on the chopping block?
I heard about this. What is going on?
So tomorrow is the end of the 35th anniversary of Mario,
Oh
which
yeah.
means that Mario 35 and Mario 3D All Stars are going to be not for sale anymore as of April 1st.
I
So everyone's just calling it the execution of Mario,
I
the
will
public
just
the public execution. Excuse me.
Nintendo can get away with stuff like that, but because they've done it time and time again. And
Yeah,
I can't think of the specific instance of this kind of thing happening, but this kind of nonsense has happened in the past.
yeah.
And I just wish that we'd stop letting them get away with it.
I mean, I don't think 3D All Stars is. I mean, that's the more egregious one that
Oh,
they're
for sure.
taking it down. But also, I think everyone who wanted that game bought it already. It went through a holiday season. People who currently want Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, and Mario 64
But
are
here's my
accounted
counter
for.
though to that is
New Switch owners
I'm
in
assuming
the
well, I'm
future.
assuming that we'll see individual releases of those games come out on the Switch at some point. I hope I'm right. I don't know if I'm right. If we don't, what we're losing is an opportunity to play and download a game that existed and now no longer exists
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
It exists on servers. We run into this with this
It's
show.
true.
We talk about the game preservation being a big thing. And I'm not. This is a little bit different, but it's not really. There's a game that
Well,
exists.
that's a big argument for Mario 35, a game that doesn't exist anywhere else. You could play those other games on other consoles. You
Yeah,
could play Mario
that's
64
true.
till you turn blue in the face on 64 or on DS. But you can't play Mario 35 after tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's
Or when people actually listen to this
yeah,
this week,
a couple
just
of
this week in general.
days ago. So
Yeah,
I see that and I'm like, that's just to me that is something moving in the complete polar opposite direction of how it should be moving.
they're doing the Disney Vault. I'm sure in 7 years
Yeah.
we'll see the 3D Marios emerge.
I hope that's the
Uh,
case. I hope that we get a chance to see them again. I hope that they come out. I don't
for
know.
6 months, and then they go back into the
It's such a stupid practice. It makes me so it just makes me
yeah.
so mad.
I really
just
hope they
anti-consumer Nintendo doing their thing.
Mhm.
Anyways, game 3.
game 3, Chris.
Yeah, I'll take this.
Please introduce a very different kind of game.
Yes, for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
We have a game developed by Sega Enterprises, published by Sega Enterprises. It is a platform puzzle game released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis. I'm going to put an asterisk on that.
Kind of?
Yeah, I'm going to put an
It
asterisk
technically
on that.
plays on the Sega Genesis, yes.
Yep. I've never played this game, but this is a game called Pyramid Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pyramid Magic. I'd never heard of it.
Nope. Never had any idea about what it was.
First party Sega game that
Yeah.
I've never heard of.
That doesn't happen super often. But so here's a description for what I found. Pyramid Magic is a platform puzzle game that casts the player as a young explorer seeking a treasure hidden deep within a pyramid. Each stage contains blocks, treasure boxes, and an exit which is blocked by a ghost. The explorer can kick and destroy the blocks as well as carry them, and can also move through small openings by carrying blocks into them. However, if he falls even one square downward, the block will crush him and the stage must be restarted. You must collect the contents of each box in order. The last contains an item which will dispel the ghost, and reach the exit without either trapping or crushing himself with the blocks.
Which will happen a lot.
Yeah. I watched somebody play this game, and they were moving very fast. But these boxes, it's a very boxy environment that you're in. A lot of hard angles. This
like
is
a
on
pyramid.
the Genesis. Well, this is on the Genesis, but this initially released for the Master System. Is that right?
The Mega Drive.
Mega Drive. So I get
Mega
those
Drive.
two mixed up all the time. So is that the Japanese version of the Genesis?
Yes,
The Master System is the original Sega system
I
before
think
the
so.
Genesis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Curse them for
Yeah,
calling it
the Mega
Sega
Drive
M-Wing.
is the Genesis.
Mega Drives. Okay, cool.
I believe so. Let me look that up real quick. I did not grow up in the UK, so I don't know
Yeah.
which of those two.
I guess I said Japanese too, but I guess
It's yes, also the
also
same
okay.
thing. Yes.
Well, anyway, in looking at screenshots of it, I thought it looked more like a Master System game than
So Master System is the
original.
older one.
Okay,
Yes.
because
Mega Drive is.
it's got just super blocky. It almost looks more. I don't know enough
Well,
about.
if you think about the distribution of this game, that
Yeah,
could inform what how the game looks. So, this game was released via a modem for the Mega Drive. I lost my my notes here. They are over here.
so I
Great,
have.
just great radio. Great radio.
Well, I
It's
mean,
for a service called Sega Game Toshokan, meaning the Sega Game Library. It was a Mega Drive cartridge that's distributed with something called a Mega Modem, which was just a way of connecting to the internet in the 90s. You would dial up through the phone line. It would make a lot of screeching noises. I don't know if this one made a bunch of screeching noises, but it was a way of connecting to a Sega server of some sort and downloading games. There's a handful of games that were specifically for this service that didn't make it anywhere else, including a bunch of Phantasy Star 2 uh, related things. There's like a Mia's Adventure, Kiwi's Adventure, kinds of. There's like 8 of these for Phantasy Star 2. There's Hyper Marbles. There's Pyramid Magic 1, 2, and 3. Uh, Pyramid Magic Editor, Pyramid Magic Soshuhen, Soshuhen. Sorry, excuse me. Pyramid Magic Special. There's a lot of Pyramid Magics on this thing. Sonic Eraser. I have no idea what that is. I'm going to click on it now and find out. Anyways, there's a bunch of different titles that were only available through the service. There were a couple that did end up making it to the US via actual cartridge, and that would be like Flicky, which was, I think, a Sonic 3 Blast spinoff. Those were the birds that you were collecting in that game. They were also, I think, just birds in the Sonic series.
so this Sega game Toshokan service, is this
Yeah,
the equivalent of what was the Sega channel in the US?
kind of.
Okay,
Kind of.
I had the
Mhm.
Sega channel.
Yeah.
It was incredible. But that, I think, I don't know why it didn't register with me that that's what we were looking at when
Yeah.
I did the research on this. But
This is a it says with the Mega Modem connected, this cartridge in the cartridge slot, and the Sega MegaNet subscription, consumers could download and play select Mega Drive games exclusively available through the service, which was released between 1990 and 1992. Within that time period, the service ended in September 1992, but they did have they would let existing customers use it for free until March of 93. It was said to have about 3,500 subscribers, so like a super small selection of people who actually had access to this and access to these games. It's probably why we never heard of it.
yeah,
Some of these games were later released on like Sega CD and collections, which I believe this was Pyramid Magic and its sequels. So that's how people have like videos up for it today. Outside of getting their hands on a cartridge that may have it on it, which seems insanely rare.
yeah.
Oh, Columns was part of this, by the way. Was
Oh,
part of this service.
that's super hard, but still better than Tetris game.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that we covered on the show. But that was one of the few games that was already released in Japan and on cartridge. That made it to the service. So must have been small enough to download and easy enough to distribute.
Yeah, I'm
It
trying to think
was
back to this was a long time ago. Sega
supposed
Channel.
like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like so like clockwork. First of the month, if it fell on a weekday, I was sick that day and not going to school because that meant the new Sega Channel games were being released.
Sure.
And I'm trying to think of any downloads that might have taken place because part of me thinks it had to, but then I also think part of it was somehow sent through the phone line. And it wasn't actual internet because when I was 92, I would have been 7, 8 years old. I don't think
Yeah.
we would have even had internet in our home yet. Which I don't know. Because I think it plugged directly into the phone line.
Yeah, typically.
And
double checking for Sega Channel. But
yeah. I'm trying to think that through. So it might not be the exact same thing, but man, I love that.
But also, I just looked at Sega Channel, completely different games because Sega Channel is actually using like full ass games.
Yeah, that was where I played a lot of the best Sega games that I remember growing up. Landstalker, Phantasy Stars, all that stuff. The Immortal. Loved Sega Channel. But that's kind of what I was wondering.
Is that on there? I need to look.
Well, they rotated every month, so you'd always have new games.
It is not on there.
So the gameplay in this game, it's a platform in which you move blocks around. Now,
yes,
part of it looked kind of awkward because what you could do is position these blocks kind of, I think it was halfway on top of another block and make like a little ascending staircase, but you had to be like kind of
like a pyramid,
pixel perfecty when you did it. Well, yeah, kind of, but
it would show like where you were laying it down, which is kind of.
I guess I didn't see that in the playthrough. I didn't see that.
Yeah, there were little outlines for where the box was going to sit. I think unless they added that with later ones, and
okay.
I'm gonna quickly look at Pyramid Magic, but yeah, there are it seems very, very tough, and it seems like there's one way to do each puzzle.
Yeah,
there's one way to get
not
through.
Look easy.
So it is very much like pick up a box, carry it to another place, put it down so you can get up onto a ledge.
Yeah.
But also if you were like on something and you picked up a block and you like were to step down from another like ledge or block, that block that you're holding would crush you, like fall on you and crush you. Also, if you picked up a block, you'd bend over and carry it on your back, but that would also be a way for your character to bend over to fit into tighter spaces. So you'd have to pick up a block to get into a crevice that's like half your character's height, and then drop the block, and then pick up a block, pick up that block again to then bend your character over. It's like really weird puzzles with this game, and that was like
did you have to walk into the
third level?
Did you have to walk into the hole then, like with the block hitting and just like sliding off?
Yeah,
your
back I'm watching it now. So the block would hit the wall,
okay,
and you'd fall into like the next little level, and then you'd have to go and pick up that block again, so your character would bend over. So it'd be like little stair steps,
okay,
for your feet and above you. So like very specific tight spaces that you'd have to maneuver around. But yeah, you have just only a couple different moves. So you could pick up blocks, you could drop blocks. You can jump on blocks and break them if you hit jump twice while you're in the air. And then like your main goal is to get keys from treasure chests to open up another treasure chest, to get a scroll, to get rid of that ghost that you talked about during the description, to end the level.
Yep.
And that seems to be the goal on every level. There's just different combinations of block puzzles.
Yeah, and it's all it's all about verticality. Moving up and around and down and under and over and through and all that stuff. So it was intriguing. A puzzle game.
It seems interesting.
Not up my alley, But I thought also, I mean, cool thing that I never would have ever heard about without this podcast. Again,
Totally.
love it.
Same.
So, and I found. Do you have anything else about the gameplay or anything?
No, it's that same thing for 35 levels. There are 35 levels of this. There's no save feature. They use a password
Oh yeah,
feature to get you to certain levels. I didn't notice if it's per level or if it's like every 5 or so. There's also a time mechanic. Looks like time goes up to tell you how long your puzzle's taking. I think it counts your total time, but I don't know if there's like a full time limit for the game or not. So
okay.
yeah, that's it. I haven't really seen anything that changes that the actual gameplay dynamic
Yeah, it seems. I
outside
mean,
of this one.
once you know how to play the game, then it's just applying what you know and solving the
Right.
puzzles.
Yep.
So, one of the things that I found that I thought was kind of interesting. On Gamma Sutra, I just did a search for puzzle magic, and I didn't expect much. I didn't get much,
Sure.
uh, but I did find one article, and it took me a good long time to figure out how it had anything to do with puzzle magic. It was a 6-page interview. It was on page 6. So I finally scrolled to the page and I found it. But it was an interview with Hirokazu Yasuhara.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about who he is in the development credits. But in that interview, he mentioned that he worked with Mark Cerny on this game, who is not
Really?
credited in any way.
No, he's not. There's like 5 people credited for this game.
Yeah, so I don't know in what capacity Mark Cerny would have been involved with this game. If he was just brought in for, because I mean, Mark Cerny, you see him all the time now, but he had originally created Marble Madness back when he was like a teenager or something. Like he's a game design kind of, he's the go-to. He's the architect of the PlayStation 5. Um, so I don't know
He
exactly.
Cerny worked at Sega.
Okay.
See here, by the end of the 80s, he joined Sega, initially working at Sega's headquarters in Japan, and then returning to the United States in 1991 to help establish the Sega Technical Institute.
Okay.
There, he worked on various Master System and Genesis releases, most notably Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I did
Okay.
not know that Cerny was the father of Knack, worked on one of the best Sonic games.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I had no idea about that either. I was just so surprised that Mark Cerny had done something with this game specifically.
Yeah.
But in the interview with Hirokazu Yasuhara, who he's a notable person, and we can go right into development if that works for you. So he is kind of along the lines of Mark Cerny, kind of a guru as it relates to game design. He has worked on Sonic the Hedgehog. He's the one who did the level design for Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one. He also worked on Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 3. He also worked on Jack and Daxter 2 and 3, and the level design for Uncharted Drake's Fortune. So
Wow.
he's still actually active in the industry. He worked with a company recently. Necromorph was the name of the company. I can't remember the name of the game off the top of my head. But he is obviously, Sonic the Hedgehog came out just before, at least in the credits. This was credited. Sonic the Hedgehog was credited before Puzzle Magic.
Sounds
Sorry,
right.
Pyramid Magic. um,
Both 2001, or sorry, 2001. Both 1991
well, the 19,
games.
okay. So
Yes.
they might have been, they might have been kind of
Very close.
in
Very
tandem.
close to each other.
But yeah, he had a hand in this game. So just somebody who's been
2 months apart.
Okay. Yeah. So the idea that he worked with Mark Cerny on this game that was only released to a very, 3,500 people, you said?
Yeah.
Or households, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, but this was the same guy who had made the levels for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, had kind of created the level design for Uncharted Drake's Fortune, which went on to, spawn one of the, greatest video game quadrilogies, I guess is what you would call it.
Sure. Yeah.
In video games. But he had a hand in making this game happen. So
that's awesome. It's very cool.
Interesting interview. A little bit about his theories behind it. He used to create his levels and everything on graph paper, and then
which makes sense with this.
Yeah, and then you'd have to negotiate with the artists and the engineers. Be like, can we even do this? I don't even know. So, but yeah, that was fun. I wanted to give a special shout out to Hirokazu Yasuhara for his role in this game. But I don't know how you play now. You can't probably. I mean, unless it's on one of those collections somewhere.
Like I said, it's a Sega CD collection of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever made it to the Sega Master System, like Sonic and his friends collection or whatever those are. I think it's emulation, or if you have a Sega CD, that's the way to play Pyramid Magic.
Yeah. All right. There's our third
very,
game.
very tough to come by. Yeah, that's it. I think that's a wrap for episode 20.
Absolutely. Should we rank them?
Please.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Should we take this week off?
Yeah, I don't think we need to rank.
No. Somebody told me, I don't remember who it was, and I'm sorry I don't remember who it was, but somebody told me their favorite part of the show was ranking us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to know.
I'm glad we decided to do it on off a whim on episode 1.
Yeah, let's rank them.
It's a fun thing.
That's
I think I don't know whose turn it is.
It's your turn.
Where's Tim when you need him? It's my turn.
It's your turn. Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yeah, we took a few weeks off. Then it was your turn when we took that week off, and then it's my turn, and then it's your turn. It's your turn.
All right. For the record, I think it's John's turn. You guys who are adamant.
Please, if we could make a Wikipedia entry on whose turn it was when we had to rank them.
Yes, please.
Chris, what would be your number 3 game?
My number
for this week
3 game is probably Pyramid Magic.
Wow, you don't like puzzle games.
I don't like puzzle games.
You really don't. You don't like puzzles. You hate Egypt.
It's been. I've been quoted as saying such hundreds of times in the past.
You said specifically, if Mark Cerny touched anything, I don't want any part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that when you got your PlayStation 5, you threw it out a moving car window
without touching it,
while peeing out the window. It's
true.
Crazy.
Yeah, I showed him what's up. I was ready to keep going with that. I'm glad I didn't. Anyways, yeah, Pyramid Magic's my number 3, right? I'm not a big puzzle game fan, and the game does look. It released on the Genesis. It doesn't look like a Genesis game. It looks like a Master System game.
Mm-hmm.
Super chunky, 8-bit graphics. I don't know if it's 8-bit. It looks like a weird combination, like an amalgamation between 8 and 16-bit, which I don't even know what that would be.
It looks like an arcade game.
It looks off in some way.
Yeah. Something
just looks off about it. I think the history is cool. If Mark Cerny did have a role in that, that's cool. And Hirokazu Yasuhara having something to do with it, who's gone on to just, define a couple of, Jak and Daxter, we didn't talk much about that either, but those games are adored. I haven't played them much. I can't say too much about Jak and Daxter, but while I think the lineage behind it is cool, the game's not for me.
Yeah. Cool.
John, what's your number 3?
My number 3, oh boy. This has nothing to do with the quality of the game. But I find very little interest in it. It's going to be Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. I'm just not seeing anything that's really that intriguing in terms of gameplay. Outside of Penguin Bowling. Penguin Bowling was a special kind of flash game. Remember Elf Bowling? back in like
Nope.
the early 2000s. It's like a little downloadable game. And anyways, those were really fun. And that's the only thing that I find kind of intriguing about this game, but it's also a mini game that you have to play an hour of this game to even get to, or half an hour. I don't have that kind of fondness for the Ice Age property, or just pretty basic looking platformers, featuring a character that doesn't have much appeal to me. So Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, is going to melt all the way down to number 3 this week.
All right.
Number 2, Chris. It's important. These rankings matter.
They do.
There's money and blood involved with them.
True. The developers, each person who worked on this game gets $1,000.
Wow.
From who?
That's why we need more patrons.
Yep, we're still
so we can
figuring
pay
out
these developers.
We have a lot that are very mad at us, by the way.
Just line them up.
I think my number 2 is going to be. Oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I think my number 2 is going to be Ice Age 2. I also don't have a ton of affinity, especially for like the second game.
Yeah.
But from what I saw in the game, the mini games are good to like. That's a nice thing to probably break it up, but there was just nothing super engaging with the gameplay that I did see. And again, immediately off put by the fact that he's surrounded by acorns and is still chasing just one acorn. Drives me nuts.
Stupid.
Yeah. Come on.
It's not smart.
Scrat.
Come on, Scrat. Get it together.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impressive that they brought in the voice actors, even though some of the voice actors don't seem very interested in what they're doing.
No, they don't.
It's, this game was more popular than I would have given it credit for. I would have just assumed another knockoff licensed game. Not knockoff. It's not a knockoff. It's the official licensed game. Just another licensed game that was just churned out to cater to the kids who recognize what Ice Age is. But it seems like it's more than that. But I don't have any interest in playing it. It's not something that I'm wanting to do. So
we're no Scrat rats here.
No, we're not. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is going to be Windmill Kings. Windmill Kings is a game that it looks like it can keep my interest for maybe an hour or so, to kind of see what all the different units do, see what kind of strategies there might be. But I don't know if it's going to hold my attention for that long. Like I mentioned before, this is one of the first times that I looked at it on Switch and I just didn't buy it to try it. The window appeal was not quite there for me, but after watching some videos on it and reading about it a bit, maybe I might get it on Steam, since it is a little bit cheaper there. But the hopes for it are not too high for me to play through it, but it looks interesting. I think I would maybe try one of his other games first, though.
Yeah.
Like Son of a Witch.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Chris, number 1, important number 1 game for episode 20 of Procedurally Generated. March 30th, 2021. The last day, the last full day that Mario will be alive.
Yeah.
What is your number 1 game? No pressure.
It's Windmill Kings.
It's Windmill Kings,
which is kind of crazy.
Sure.
When I looked at this list when we started, I was like, well, Windmill Kings is probably my number 3, without doing any research. And to be honest, I mean, Windmill Kings, I think you said it best when you said, this looks like a game I could play for probably an hour.
Just fine. That's all it needs to be.
That's all it needed this week, is to catapult it to my number 1 game. No, I think it's got. It seems like it has that quality, that mindless, entertaining quality, where you don't have to think about anything. Just push a button and let things happen.
Right.
get better characters, kind of plan out what characters you want to attack the next one or the next, wave of. Um, the idea that it's $9.99 on Switch, which is the preferable way to play because I could, play that in bed and not spend $4.99 and sit on my computer and play it because I don't have any interest in sitting at my computer and playing a game like that. That's something that I have to have like mobile ready. But that being said, this is the one that I could actually see myself playing for an hour or through to completion. I don't know. It just seems like a very basic, simple concept. I don't have to mess around with any tutorials. I don't have to learn anything new. I sit down. I understand it. I'm going to play it. I'm happy. So that's why Windmill Kings takes home my number one. John, lay it on me.
So number one, I have the same reasons, man, for putting Pyramid Magic as my number one game this week. It lays everything out for you immediately. There are so few mechanics in this game, but they are putting interesting puzzles in your way. I like brain teasers. I like simple. I like simple yet complex obstacles. Like there's one way to get through this level. We gave you all the pieces. Here they are. Figure it out. And it seems like it's well put together. It gives you everything you need right away. Like I said, it teaches you everything you need, and then kind of like takes off the training wheels and says, "Here you go. Survive in this pyramid. Get this ghost out of the way. Get to the next level." I like the type of puzzles that it's presenting, and I could see myself also just like if this were on like the Switch or on a portable system of some sort, I could see myself just sitting down and trying to knock out a level and trying to bang my head against the level for a while. I really like what Pyramid Magic is doing, and I'm a little bit mad I didn't know about it before. So Sega, bring back Pyramid Magic, put it in a Yakuza or something. Do something with it.
There you go.
Make it a dungeon in the next Persona game. I don't know. But
I like how
bring back Pyramid Magic in some form.
I like how your first statement was just like, all of the mechanics they're just simple and they're right there. And then I was thinking like, you need to put a block on your back in order to crouch and crawl through a wall.
But they teach you that. They teach you that like immediately. That's like level 3.
Yeah. I don't know. But I respect
it's
I respect
a very intuitive way to tutorialize their levels and show you the kind of the kind of problem solving you're gonna have to do.
Okay.
So
that works. Good list, John.
Hey, yeah, you too. Great 3 games. Glad that we had the same 3 games on there.
Yeah,
I'm really
that
surprised.
Worked out well. What a shock! Yeah,
the numbers were different, but the games were all 3 were the same.
Yeah, my number 3 was your number 1. My number 1 was your number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And my number 2 is your number 3. Right?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Really mixed it up this week. Keeping us on our toes.
That's right. It's way more better than the boring 3, 2, 1 are the exact same, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nobody wants that.
It might be next week.
People want controversy.
They do. They keep telling us that we need to fight more.
It's yeah.
I told him, no, that's never going to happen.
No, we've never fought.
Unless you pay us.
No. This is the man who saved my stream the other day.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, here, quick. All right.
Sure. No.
We're going to talk about this. My stream. I was so excited for Disco, having early access, one of the first streamers available to do it. My mic dies. It starts crackling at people. I get up, I change, do my costume change, come back, start talking. People are like, please stop. It's like you're spitting electricity into our minds. So my mic shits out. John is in the chat and he's like, hey, I'm gonna bring my mic so you can keep streaming this. And I was like, no, it's 45 minutes. I'm already out the door. I'm already gone. It's too late. Text me your address. Oh, all right. Okay. Shows up 45 minutes later, drops off his mic. I get to continue my stream. What a guy. What a swell fella.
It's an important stream for you. I couldn't let you sit there. I know Eggy lives near you. He was probably at work, so he couldn't come save you.
True. I'm sure. Yeah,
I couldn't let your I really couldn't let your first Disco Elysium stream end like that. That would suck. And I'm glad that you kept going with it after lunch instead of switching to Persona and doing a full day of it today as well.
Yeah, no, and that's actually, it's the mic I'm recording on right now. So,
I mean, how often do you get a game early?
True.
Get the support of the developer, and you also bought a bunch of different costume items to switch costumes multiple times throughout the day. It's incredible.
It was.
I could not let that stop.
It was literally the worst time for my mic to be like, nah.
Absolutely. But also, that was the easiest decision that I made yesterday. It was like, I'm going to bring this microphone out to him. I have nothing going on, so easy enough. Just had a work meeting that I took on the phone on the way over there. But like, yeah, I had to help you out. So
just an idea of what kind of person John Stream Savior Carson really is. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I will encourage other people to. I will make it so other people can stream, and then say I'm going to stream and then not do it.
Right.
The John Carson way.
Yeah. But yes, so that was fantastic. I don't know what got me there, but I'm glad we got there. I don't know. Anyways, if you guys would like to participate in the show, if you guys have some comments, you guys have some thoughts, some questions, some inputs, we'd love to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Send us an email at pgshowinbox@gmail.com. Reach out to our Twitter, PG_show. We have our Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. And who knows, if you enjoy the show even a little bit and you feel like throwing us a couple bones, we would appreciate it. The minimum, I think, is $3.
And really, that money's going to a good cause right now, because it's going to be getting Chris a new microphone.
Turns out I need a new mic, so we've already put the wheels in motion to have a new mic delivered, and we'll be using the funds that you guys have contributed. So, because it is,
so thank you for
my
that
streaming mic, but it's going to be my podcast mic too. So,
yeah,
big kudos to you guys. It
works both ways. Also, the easiest money that we could put into something like, oh yeah, like we have podcast money. We can instantly buy you something new.
Yeah.
For both the podcast and for your stream.
Exactly. Yes. So again, thank you, John, for dropping off your mic to let me use. Thank you, everybody who's chipped into the Patreon, because of you, I could easily, quickly replace that mic. And you guys might even notice a benefit next time we record.
We'll see.
It probably isn't going to be a huge step up quality wise, but it's a better mic. So we also have our Discord link below, and our YouTube will also be linked. Please check out both of those. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to that. We would love to have you. And speaking of Patreon, let's go ahead and thank those that we have.
Yes, we should.
Let me bring it up here. Oh,
and while he's doing that, thanks to all the people who spend their time with us every week. I know not everyone is subscribed to our Patreon, but you are giving us 2 hours of your time or more if you're listening to older episodes per week. I really appreciate that you're spending that time with us. Hopefully you're learning something. Hopefully you are at least mildly entertained. More so that first one. I think as long as you're learning stuff, we're doing our job here.
Yeah,
so
it's
because we are learning stuff as well.
For sure. John, we have a new patron to thank.
What?
I know. I'm very excited. I didn't know about it until I just brought this up.
Holy crap!
So let's work through it, and I will be sure to specifically call out our newest patron. We have Mecha Sprite at our platinum tier. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Xchin at our gold tier. Thank you so much. Cassidy, thanks. Catherine, the Lone Wolf, Tim, and Tori at our silver tier. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have Ozzy, Brandon, Jason, and John at our bronze tier. And introducing John Jensen, our newest bronze supporter. Thank you so much. And welcome.
That's incredible.
Glad to have you. Thank you guys all for your support. Like I said, you are literally paying for my brand new mic to us continue to record the podcast after
And
an
it's
untimely
going to
passing
go
of my last mic.
it's going to go into even more.
Yep.
Once we can eventually record in person. I'm worried about what that's going to look like in person now that we have our like notes in front of us on our computers and all of that. Figuring out the logistics of what that's going to look like if we ever do start recording
We'll make it
in
look
a
perfect.
studio in person. Do we move to paper? Do we do note cards? Who knows? But money will go towards equipment for whatever that situation is.
Yeah.
So
looking forward to it. We're getting. Oh, speaking of which, in person,
yeah.
I've got my vaccine set up for my first shot set up for
Yep.
this Friday, with my second shot being 3 weeks down the road. John, It sounds like you are knocking on the door of getting yours
Monday is I don't know which one it is.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's the J&J one shot or if it's one of the other ones. I'm also going to be trying to aim for an earlier one if I can, or not an earlier one, but a closer to home one.
Okay.
Because I'm driving to St. Cloud for this one. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Like
let's talk offline.
Sure.
I might
Yes.
be able to
Absolutely.
direct you
But
somewhere better.
the light is at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
Or we see the light at the end of the tunnel. And hopefully for everyone out there who who's listening, it's you're seeing it too.
Yeah, it doesn't mean like after these shots we are back to normal. You know, there's still precautions that we obviously have to take.
Keep your masks on in public.
Yeah.
There are still people who need protection. So.
Yeah, and for everybody who's still looking for one, good luck. I hope that you get it soon. Just again, maybe the day-to-day doesn't change, but I am ready for that stress level to drop just from that thing that we've dealt with for a year now. So
yeah, but did bring us something like procedurally generated
True.
in its wake. So
yeah.
Happy for that.
Absolutely. So again, last thing, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. Please share the show with any friends, anybody you think might enjoy the show. Offer up some suggestions, some things like that. I did get actually a couple suggestions I forgot. Not anything that I was going to read on the air or anything like that, but something that I thought it was good feedback. But yeah, other than that, guys, we'll see you next week.
7 days from now.
That's
7 days. Yeah, we'll see you then.
Cool.
All right. Catch you later.
Bye, guys.